Got a video for you folks. It's a little bit long, but it's worth it, every minute of it. Do not miss it. Wait to the very end to catch the last couple of words of it. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, soon to be Governor Mark Robinson. He is a great patriot and Christian, and I really enjoy bringing you his inspiring videos because this man is on fire with the truth and his love of God, and he brings that forward every time he gets up on the stage, and I'm just glad to be able to share that with y'all. And I just want to let y'all know it's just one of the many great patriots at CPAC this weekend, and I just want to let everybody know what he's talking about is absolutely truth. Sometimes you do things not because you want to, you do them because you feel an obligation to. You feel like it is your duty, and it is something that you need to do in service of your country, because sometimes everybody needs to step up and do what they can to help our current situation. And he has done his part. He's doing his part, and I think he's going to go places in government. I think he's going to go a long ways with his political career because he's the real deal. Now, let me go ahead and get into the video, folks. Like I said, it's a little bit long, but listen to what he's talking about when he's talking about wants, needs, and service to your country. Spot on. Thank God for great Christian patriots like Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. Back at CPAC again, bringing down the house with a standing ovation in epic fashion as usual. Here we go. Check out the video, folks.
Thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. It's good to be back at CPAC again. But as always, the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Right off the bat, as always. Why? Because he is worthy. He's the reason why we live in this blessed and prosperous land. And in him, that's where you find true freedom. So we give him thanks first and foremost. That being said, I also need to say this. We've heard a lot of things today, and we've been hearing a lot of things about the bad news in this country, but I want to give you some good news today. The very first piece of good news I want to give you is that God is still on the throne, and God is still in control, even in this nation. Even though Joe Biden may be the president of the United States of America, God is still in control, and he will always be in control. And it is time as Americans that we start standing up and giving him some thanks. What do we need to thank him for? There are a whole lot of things we need to thank him for. Even in the bad things that we are facing, there are things that we need to thank him mightily for. We need to thank him for those brave men and women in green down on the border, that despite not having the support of the federal government and the Biden administration, they still get up every day, put that uniform on, get on those horses, get in those trucks, and patrol that border for our border security. They continue to do it day in and day out, even though their bosses in Washington refuse to give them what they need in order to succeed. But those brave men and women, they still get up and do it every day. We need to give thanks to them. We need to give thanks to the men and women in uniform who patrol our streets for public safety. They've got everybody from ABC, CNN, BLM, and Antifa calling to have the police defunded, lying on the police, saying that our policemen are racist, saying that our policemen are violent, saying that they need to be defunded. But every day, those men and women get up, they put on that uniform, and they go out into those neighborhoods and they patrol those streets for public safety and lay down their lives for the people that they love and for the cities they love and for the nation that they love. We need to give thanks for those men and women. We need to give thanks for those brave mothers and fathers who would be called domestic terrorists by having the unmitigated gall to go down and speak up at the school board meeting for their children because they refuse to have their children indoctrinated by CRT and have them presented with pornography. And they're willing to stand up and face the federal government if necessary. We need to give thanks for those teachers that are in those classrooms every day pushing back against those agendas and fighting to do what's right for our students. We need to say thank you for our military that despite the fact that they want them to be woke, they are still willing to stand up and serve and fight for the nation that they love. We need to give thanks for those folks. Now, why do I say all that? I say that to say this. Some of that needs to translate to those folks in Washington, D.C. Some of that needs to translate to those folks in your state capital. Some of it needs to translate to the folks on our city councils and our county commissions, because there exists a problem in politics today. You see, back home in North Carolina, one of the most poorly kept secrets is that a guy named Mark Robinson may run for governor. And I got all kind of people that want me to do that. And I got all kind of people that don't want me to do it and want to stand up and try to stop me. But here it is. I know one thing, that God, like I said, is in control of what he has for me. No man can stop. And I'm not saying that I'm ordained to be the governor. But if it's his will for me to be, it will be. And no one can stop it. But I don't know if that's his will or not. But I can tell you this. Somebody asked me not too long ago, they said, why do you want to be the governor? And I looked at them and I told them what I believed in. But I never answered the question. But I got in my car on the way home and I thought about it and I said, well, why do I want to be governor? Then I thought about it real deep and I came to a conclusion. I don't want to be the governor. Then I thought about it even deeper and said, you know, I didn't even want to be lieutenant governor. Now I want you to think about what I just said. I said, I don't want to be the governor. You see, that is the problem in that statement. The problem in that statement is want. We have too many people who decide to run for office because they want to be something. They want to be a congressman. They want to be a senator. They want to be a governor. They want to be president. They want to be a big shot who pops his collar and looks down on the people, tells them what to do and has doors open for them. They have a title. They have armed guards. And they'll have a legacy, a political legacy of their fantastic political career that will follow them for life. They want. Let me tell you something about want. Want is not what is standing in front of you. When I say I don't want to be governor, this is how I describe it. I want you to go back in your mind. Go back to June the 6th, 1944. Go back to the English Channel. Find one of those Higgins boats. And in that Higgins boat, you'll find a young man probably from Bedford, Virginia. A member of the 116th Infantry, 29th Infantry, that is about to attack Omaha Beach. The toughest fight of that day would take place on that beach. Some 70 to 80% of his comrades would be killed. I want you to go back in your mind and I want you to ask that young man, why did you come here to this place? Why did you want to join the army and come here to this place? Why did you want to watch your friends be slaughtered? Why do you want these Germans shooting at you? Why do you want to leave your family and friends behind, possibly to never see them again? I would imagine that that young man would probably turn around and look at you and say something to the effect of, I didn't want any of this, because this is not about want. This is about service. You see, my nation is in trouble. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and Hitler is murdering his way across Europe. I cannot sit at home and watch this world burn and have my nation in trouble. It's time for me to stand up and serve, up to and including giving my life if necessary. This is not about want. It's about service. And the people in D.C. need to hear it. You're not there to serve yourself and your self-interest. You're there to serve the people of this nation and the state you represent, the area that you represent. Yes, up to and including your political life if necessary. You see, that's another thing we need to thank God for right now. We got some folks like Dan Bishop that'll go to Washington, D.C. and make sure that we fight to bring real leadership back to that entity. Because that's what it's time for, folks. It's time for our political class to understand why they are there. They're not there to get rich and reelected. They're not there to serve their own interest. They're not there to craft a political career that will follow them for the rest of their life and get them paid for the rest of their life. They are there to do what the founders intended it to be. Service. To be service to the people that elected them to those positions. You see, because sometimes when you're doing the right thing, it gets tough out here on this old road. The media comes after you. Sometimes your own party comes after you. But you got to keep going. And why do you got to keep going? I don't know what your reason is, but I've got my reason. I've got what I call my core. My core is my grandbabies. See, because I got to build a future for them to make sure that they can live the life of freedom, same kind of life of freedom that I lived. This morning I talked to them by phone. They were at their home. They were with their mom and dad. And they were doing science experiments. Had on little white lab coats and glasses, and they said, we're doing science experiments. And I looked at them in those lab coats, and they said they were scientists, and I looked at them and I said, wow, they're already better scientists than Dr. Fauci is. But seriously, that's what I fight for every day, to leave them a legacy of freedom. I don't need a legacy of a political career. I need to leave a legacy of freedom for the people that I serve, and that's exactly what I intend to do. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the great state of North Carolina. Thank you.